Okay, I'm going to kind of help you go through this handout if you need it. Obviously, this first one is not going to be difficult. This is from your notes. The 6 factors that cause the demand curve to shift. You should be able to get those from your notes, so I'm not going to spend any time on that at all. This next part, you're going to have to read each statement and then determine if the situation is an increase or a decrease in demand. And once again, none of these are going to be changing um, the price of whatever it is we're talking about. There's going to be one of those ceteris paribus conditions changing, one of those determinants demand, non-price factors, all 3 of those terms apply here. So the first question says, suppose compact disc players are recalled due to a malfunction in one of the parts. What's going to happen to CD players? If there's a recall in those, if we're starting at this original curve, are we going to want to buy more or less at $100? If there's a recall and there's something wrong with them, we're going to want to buy less. So we're going to go from curve D1 to D3, and that's your answer there. And I'm going to have to scroll up and down so we can see this. Number 2, suppose Consumer Reports states that American-made CD players last 2.3 years longer. So what's going to happen to the demand for CD players if we think that American-made ones last longer? Once again, we're not changing the price, but because we think they're going to last longer, we'll want to purchase more. So we're going to go from curve D1, and at that price, we will be willing and able to purchase more. So we're going to shift to D2. Number 3, suppose the price of tape players, and obviously this is an older handout, so kind of tape players is going to go down by 40 with CD players. So what happens to the demand for CD players? We're not changing the price of the CD player. We're changing the price of a substitute. So if the price of tape players is going down, our quantity demanded is going up, which means our demand for CD players is actually going to go down. So it's going to go from D1 to D3. And I'm going to quit scrolling up and down because you have this handout in front of you. Suppose many artists choose to release only CDs. The demand for CD players, once again, these two go together. So if everyone's putting out CDs, and so that's the only thing that you can play your music on, then obviously if these two go together and we're buying these for music, the demand for CD players is going to go up. It's going to shift from D1 to D2. Suppose Americans' incomes rise a record 3% in 1 quarter. We're going to assume, because it doesn't say anything, that CD players are a normal good. As our income goes up, our demand is going to go up. Once again, we're not changing the price of the CD player. We're changing a price of one of those ceteris paribus conditions. So we're going to shift the whole entire curve to the right from D1 to D2. Part C, if a person receives an increase in income and as a result buys more of a certain good, that good is called, and once again, that's what normally happens. You make more money, you buy more stuff. So that is a normal good. Number 2, if a person receives an increase in income and as a result buys less of that, it's kind of like the spam. My income goes up, my demand goes down. So for me, that's inferior. That might not be the case for everyone, but in this case, if it tells you your income is going up and you're buying less of it, the product is inferior. Once again, taking price out of the equation. We're not changing price. If a person receives an increase in income and buys neither more nor less of a good, once again, that's called a neutral good. Part D, when the price of one good and the demand for another good move in the same directions, their good are said to be. So if we think about this, if the price of one good, so if we increase the price of one good and the demand for that good moves in the same direction, I increase the price of skis, so my demand for snowboards goes up. These are substitutes. So if you move the price of one and you increase it and it causes me to buy something else, it's because that's a substitute. You're not going to buy this one anymore because the price has gone up. If you have a situation where the price of one good and the demand for another good move in opposite directions, once again, 2 things that go together, my chips and salsa reference. If the price of chips goes up, my quantity demanded for chips is going to go down, so my demand for salsa is going to go down. So I have the price of one going up, and that's causing me to buy less of the other because I typically buy these things together. This next part should be easy. Hamburgers and hot dogs, are they substitutes or complements? Toothbrush and toothpaste, do they go together or do you buy one instead of the other? Tires and gasoline, this one typically confuses people, not sure why. But would you substitute tires for gasoline? No, they go together. Audio tapes, compact discs, same thing. Are they substitutes and complements? Movie tickets and videotape rentals, you can figure those out on your own. Let's look at these 3 multiple choice questions. First one, it says other things constant. So this ceteris paribus, we're holding everything constant. Which of the following would not cause a change in demand? What does not cause a shift in the demand curve? And you have to think about this because every time I give this handout, most people get this one wrong, and I don't understand that. I want to know if we're looking and talking about the demand for mopeds, what's going to cause you to move up and down the curve and not shift the whole entire curve? We know that's price. So which one of these is not going to change your demand? It's when we change the price of mopeds. It has to be B, a decrease in the price of mopeds. Number 2, rising oil prices have caused a sharp decrease in the demand for oil. Speaking precisely and using terms as they are defined by economists, choose the statement that best describes this quotation. So we have a situation here where we're talking about a change in price changing demand. Is that a true statement or a false statement? Does a change in price change demand? Absolutely not. It changes its quantity demanded. So we can immediately eliminate A. B says the quotation is incorrect. An increase in price always causes an increase in demand. No, change in price does not change demand. The quotation is incorrect. An increase in price causes a decrease in quantity demanded. That's true. They go in opposite directions, not a decrease in demand. So we know that C is the answer. And then finally, number 3, as the price of domestic automobiles has inched upward, so we're changing the price of domestic automobiles and we're increasing the price. Customers have found foreign autos to be a better bargain. These are substitutes. Consequently, domestic auto sales have been decreasing and foreign auto sales have been increasing. Using only information in this quotation and assuming everything else constant, which of the following best describes the statement? Okay, so are we going to see a shift in the demand curves for both domestic and foreign? No, we know that all we're doing is changing the price of this one, but no, we're not changing the price of this. So we know we're going to move along the curve for domestic because all we're doing is changing the price, and we're going to shift the curve of this one. So B says a movement along the demand curves for both. Once again, we know that's not true. We're going to shift one and we're going to move along the same curve for the other. A movement along the demand curve for domestic autos, and that is true because we're only changing the price, and a shift of the demand curve for foreign autos. We know that's true. We didn't change the price, but because these prices are going up, our quantity demanded is going down, which changes our demand for its substitute. So C is the answer for that one.